Hi everyone, welcome to Vivid Botany. We have a question here, match the following type. This question is taken from histology, that is internal morphology. Histology is study of tissues of different kinds in plants. And if you see carefully the question, exact lines are taken from NCERT, that is plus one. If you see that vascular tissues are also called as complex tissues. Why they are called complex tissues? Because vascular tissues are more than one type. What do you mean by more than one type? They are not one type of cells. That include here the so-called xylem and phloem. The conducting tissue, vascular tissue are the same. So the plants which are having the xylem and phloem are called as tracheophytes. We know that in the evolution of plant kingdom, pteridophytes are the first tracheophytes, followed by the phanerogams like gymnosperms and angiosperms. Angiosperms are the highly evolved tracheophytes, whereas the pteridophytes are the primitive tracheophytes. The vascular tissues are also called as complex tissues since they are not one type, they are more than one type, and they are also called conducting tissue as well as the complex tissue that includes xylem and phloem. Right. So xylem is also called as wood, hydrome. Phloem is called as the bast and leptome. Phloem responsible for conduction of the food material and the xylem responsible for conduction of water and minerals. And next, that is, I go to simple tissue. A simple tissue is that which is having only one kind of cells. I am taking the first line under the simple tissue in NCI textbook, that is one kind of cells. There is only one type of cells are present in simple tissues that include here three types of simple tissues are there. One is parenchyma, another is collenchyma, and another is the Sclerenchyma. So parenchyma is living tissue, soft tissue. It will play a greater role, occupies major portion in plant. It present in all kinds of plants, shows division of labor like chlorenchyma, performs photosynthesis by having chloroplast. Storage parenchyma stores food material in different parts of the plant body. Aerenchyma provides buoyancy mechanical support in hydrophytes like Hydrilla, Vallisneria, and other hydrophytes. And parenchyma also undergoes dedifferentiation to convert into meristematic tissue. It has got so many functions. One of the major tissues of the plant, parenchyma. And collenchyma, it's called living mechanical tissue. It provides the what do you call that, elasticity, flexibility, allows the part of the plant to bend but not to break. In dicot stem, it is present as hypodermis, may be continuous or discontinuous, and in monocot stem and in all roots it's absent. The cells are having here the more thickenings in their corners. They are called as cholocytes. They provide mechanical support, elasticity, flexibility to part of the plant. And sclerenchyma, this is dead mechanical tissue. Dead mechanical tissue in the sense only cell wall is present, there is no protoplasm, there is no cell wall, that what do you call that, cytoplasm, nucleus, cell organelle, all are absent. Instead, a narrow lumen is present. It provides hardness, rigidity to different parts of the plant. And where it is present, sclerenchyma is present in monocot stem as hypodermis as well as around the vascular bundles, what we call them as fibrovascular bundles. In dicot stem it is present around the vascular bundles like a semilunar cap that is called as pericycle, so that provides toughness, protection to the vascular bundles. So these three together called as simple tissue. And in sclerenchyma we find the sclereids. These sclereids are, they may be oval, spherical like that. They are having dead cell wall. The total cell is dead, The cell wall is very much thickened. It is lignified with bordered pits, and the protoplasm is absent. Instead, narrow lumen is present here, and these sclereids may be isolated. They are present in different parts of the plant body, like they are present in nuts. We know that nuts, like they are present in coconut, walnut, and terminalia catappa, that is almond nut. In different, where you find the shell like structure which is very hard to break, in that nut we find the sclereids. We also find it in guava, that is pulp of the fruit guava. We know that pear, Parus communis, sapota, acrus sapota. When we are eating sapota, we find small granule-like structures in that pulp. That's nothing but the sclereids. Small granules are found in our mouth when we are chewing the sapota. Custard apple. When we are eating custard apple, in that pulp we find small granule-like structures that come in contact with our mouth inner parts. They're nothing but the sclereids. And seed coat of legumes. We know the bean, that is botany. We know that is pea plant, Pisum sativum, as well as the bean, common bean, Dolichos lab. In that, the seed coat is very tough to break. Because the outer seed coat, that's called testa, is having the sclereids, and it provides very much toughness, rigidity to the seed. So unless and until it becomes active, it doesn't germinate. One of the toughest seed coat is one of the causes for seed dormancy in leguminous seed, and the tough seed coat is because of the sclereids. And we know that to remove that dormancy, to make it active again, it is rubbed against the hard surface. The seeds are rubbed against hardest surfaces. They are pierced with the headed pins, and they are soaked in water, so that outer testa will become permeable, become softened, and may get in contact with water, imbibes water, and it may convert from dormancy to an active stage, where it may undergo germination in short span of time. So this removal of dormancy by rubbing against hard surface is called as scarification. So we also find sclereids in leaves of tea. Tea leaves, that is leaf is the economic part of the tea plant. In that also we find the sclereids. So they are simple tissues, and meristemite tissues we know very well. They are actively dividing cells. They are actively dividing cells. They are always active. They are always young, small, compact. They are very young, energetic, actively dividing. They are very compact located. Cell wall is thin, cellulosic with plasmodesmata. Protoplasm is very dense, conspicuous nucleus and small vacuoles, no ergastic substances, no plastids. Proplastids are seen, and cells are very active, rich with energy. Actively dividing cells are called as meristematic cells. They are found in some permanent parts of the plant, like we have apical meristem, axillary buds, terminal buds, and also we find them in cambium, like what is that intervascular cambium, intravascular cambium, that will both connect vascular cambium. So meristematic cells are responsible for growth of the plant, wherein plant growth is indefinite, indeterminate, open, continuous. Indefinite, indeterminate, open, continuous, just because of the meristematic cells present in plants. Now, I think I have explained you everything. Now, let's match the list 1 with list 2. Cells with active cell division capacity, that's nothing but the meristematic cells. I attach them here, right? The tissues having all cells similar in structure and function. I told you that one kind of cells are found in simple tissue. So B is matching with the 4, right? Then C, tissues having different types of cells. I told you that complex tissue, vascular tissue, conducting tissue comes as one different types of cells. So this is option 1, vascular tissue. And dead cells with highly thickened walls, the narrow lumen, that is sclereids, or you can say sclerenchyma also. Remember, in vascular tissues, xylem is also dead, that also conducts the lignified cell wall, bordered pits, no protoplasm, narrow lumen, and dead cells. So now things become very easy to get the answer, that is A2. We find A2 only in first option. The first option is the right one, A2, then B4 right, then C1 right, and D3 right. So the question is framed based on the sentences, exact lines of NCERT. If you see in NCERT plus one, under the complex tissue, very clearly mentioned that there are more than one type of cells. If you see the lines of simple tissue, very clearly mentioned that made up of only one type of cells. And meristematic cells, they are ever energetic, ever increasing, ever dividing cells. And sclereids are the kind of sclerenchyma which are dead, and they are lignified cell walls, bordered pits, no protoplasm, narrow lumen, and shows mechanical support in different parts of the plant body. So this is based on tissues. If you see each and every question, he is not going beyond the subtopic in majority of the questions. In some questions, he is going beyond the subtopic, but in majority of the questions is limited to only subtopic. We have seen all the cell organelles just now. We have seen all the hormone just now. We have seen all the only auxins just before that we have seen. So we have seen only chromosomes based on classification of chromosomes based on centromere, or only PCR technique. Here the question is based on only the tissues. So different kinds of tissues he covered here: the vascular tissue, meristematic tissue, sclerenchyma, and simple tissue. Just with definition, with first lines of NCERT, he framed the question. So you should be very keen. If you don't read, if you don't stick to the lines of NCERT, it is very difficult to answer because the options look alike. You may get wrong, and you may get here a wrong option if you are not perfect with NCERT lines. So please go through the lines, go in between the lines also, and stick to the words as much as possible to do this type of questions very perfectly. Hope my explanation is very well. So let us stick to the lines. Once again, I'm telling you, don't forget to subscribe my video. Stick to the lines, and thank you very much. Let's see another question.